All right, we're live, and welcome everybody. I'm Richard, and this is the Gauntlet game of the Black Hack, and we'll be playing an adventure set in the city-state of the Invincible Overlord, and very old D&D setting back to the 70s. And tonight, the adventure is called Goblintown Below. This is part of a short series of city-state adventures that we'll be doing over the next couple of weeks. And we have a returning player and two new players for this Black Hat game. Everybody's starting at second level. So what I'd like to do is to let Matt start introducing his character, since that is that's a returning character, and then we'll hit our two brand new characters, and we'll talk a little bit about the North Sea side of the city-state and Goblintown. Matt, over to you.
Yeah. Kreigast is just like a longtime fixture in the neighborhood. He's in his mid to late 30s. He's got a full head of completely gray hair that's comes down to his shoulders, kind of greasy. He's way too thin, and his clothes are kind of ragged. Yeah, he's just he's very, I don't know, kind of community minded, and he kind of pulls for the underdogs. Nice. And he has a deep belief in magic. And he is a conjurer.
All right. And let's go over to Rich Rogers.
Hey, as Richard said, I'll be going by Rich for this game to avoid all confusion. I'm sure the fact that there are two Richards will not present a problem at all.
Never.
And I am playing a character. The look for the character is, oddly enough, the first art I ever had a crush on. It is the cleric, although this Aleena is not a cleric because I don't want to be the walking band-aid, but it is Aleena from the D&D Red box set. I'm sure all of you guys are nodding your heads, but just in case someone doesn't know who that is, this is who it is, Aleena. And yeah, she is a warrior. She's in her 20s, and she's the only daughter of a large family and a bit of a tomboy. But she wants to cut her hair because that's an obvious target of opportunity, but she made a promise to her mother, who passed away, that she would not, because hair makes you girly or something. But that's Aleena. She actually, her profession is she is the tough for the local thieves guild.
Nice. All right.
But imagine a few of her brothers might be members or ex-members.
All right. And your ideal is looks are deceiving. And
it is.
Idea. One house rule we're using, we've kind of borrowed from the White Hack, is that there's a few ways to get advantage. Once per session, you can tap into a profession you have, a bond you have with another character, or an ideal. So that is Aleena is a Thieves Guild tough who believes in looks and receiving. Kreigast is a wizard who believes in magic saves, but a profession-wise still struggling to live up to his potential. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I could formalize this as yeah, let me think on that. I can maybe make it a little more.
I think that's a perfectly apt description for your early 30s right there.
Okay. Cool. We'll go with it then.
All right. And Keith, would you like to am I saying Asor-Ash correctly?
Yeah.
All right.
So, Asor-Ash is a young hopeful from a fallen merchant house. Perhaps he hasn't realized it yet, but it may be that his best opportunities are already behind him. But since his merchant house fell on hard times, he's been forced to make a living on his own. He's gotten by, just knows the city really well, and so he's able to make a living couriering messages and deliveries and things of this nature from place to place. And he's discreet enough and subtle enough that he can offer that as a service to people who might want to take advantage of such things. And his ideal is that discretion is the better part of valor.
Nice. Okay.
He's not one to leap, feet first into the fire and figure out what happens later. He's always going to be cautious and careful, and he's absolutely not a coward. That's a a vile slur hurled at me by my many enemies.
You know, lots of people like to call thieves cowards. We like to call them survivors.
Indeed.
Kreigast, what is a bond you have with either Aleena or Asor-Ash? And you can say, wait while we go in and do some other questions.
Yeah. Give me a minute to think about that.
Okay, sounds good. I do want to take 1 second here and mention that that we are in line with the Gauntlet's inclusivity policy. We'll be using the X card during tonight's game. If there's material you're uncomfortable with, or material that you'd prefer just to move past, or not to have be part of the game, just either you can say the word X card, you can use the X card button on our die roller, or you can make a big X in front of the video. And we've talked about making sure that folks can see you in any of those situations, or hear you in any of those situations. We may briefly do something to quickly clarify what the content that people are uncomfortable with is, and then we will just move past it, or sort of route ourselves back around it, because the important thing is that people are here to have fun, and not to have stuff that they're having trouble with or struggling with kind of thrown back at them. So the X card is there for that. The Black Hack is a great set of rules by David Black for playing D&D style games in a slightly more modern way. And it's available on RPG Now, and we'll include the link with the video there. I think everybody has played the Black Hack here before. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Great. All right. So we have 3 very experienced hands. Kreigast is playing a 3rd level character, and Keith and Rich, Aleena and Asor-Ash are both 2nd level. And our party is made up of a thief, a conjurer, and a warrior. So it should be a fun, well-balanced adventure. The adventure is Goblintown below. It is not an official city-state of the Invincible Overlord dungeon. Instead, the city-state kind of talks about Goblintown as a thing that's sort of underneath and outside of the city-state. Goblins are allowed to work in the city-state during the day, but come nightfall, they need to all be outside for various terrible misunderstandings and reasons. But tonight, you're going to find that you need some help from them. And we're going to find a little bit about why. And I want to start with Kreigast, who was on our last adventure, which was set in the Temple of the Gargoyle. And I want to ask Kreigast, which is Matt's character, after last time you rescued a young thief who, much like Asor-Ash, was not technically a member of the guild, not officially a member of the Thieves Guild, from the Temple of the Gargoyle. But the temple was largely intact, even with your attempt to sort of burn it down. Kreigast, what has been? Am I saying that correct, Matt?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
That's good.
And Kreigast, what has been your big clue that the temple knows whoever staged the raid to rescue that young thief is living on the northeast side? So you've got a hint that they know to hunt for you, or they're looking for you, and they know what neighborhood you live in. What has that hint been that you've had to kind of keep your head down?
Yeah, I think I've just been hearing from just people in the neighborhood that that I'm being asked about. So it's come from a couple different sources, like a couple of vendors, maybe a couple of just like street urchins, maybe some homeless people. Yeah, just people I see and interact with on the daily.
So Kreigast, I think among these people, you've definitely got at least several people who are looking out for you because neighborhood allegiance. You have one person you can go to no matter what. Who is that person?
His name's Janos.
Janos. And tell me about Janos, just a sentence or two.
He's a street vendor, so he makes just a variety of just like grilled meats. There's like mostly a breakfast through lunch kind of thing, and it's kind of like a bit of a social hub in the neighborhood.
Right. Okay. So who's a person who says they'll look out for you, but you suspect they're ready to sell you out if they got the right money?
We're gonna say it is someone named Darcy, and she's a street urchin.
All right. Aleena, this day, or a week from this day, every year, the Thieves Guild buys a substantial amount of food for the whole neighborhood as part of showing their patronage for the neighborhood. What's the occasion when the Thieves Guild buys the dole?
Oh, it is 2 days before the elections.
Oh, yeah.
For the local constabulary and government officials. Because ostensibly, it's a bit of a democracy.
Right. Okay. What is your favorite treat that the Thieves Guild puts into the dole that no one else who buys a dole for your neighborhood, including the local politician, ever includes?
There's this like rice ball.
Okay.
That's a savory treat. And most people, they want sweet treats, or they want some kind of meat jerky. It's not that healthy, but it's really good and chewy. It's a silence ball, because when you chew on it, it's like got this consistency like caramel or caramel.
Oh, nice.
And so when you take a big bite out of it, it's going to be a while before you can speak clearly. You often will get it in your teeth. So I often will have like a little leather, a little piece of leather to rub it in my teeth afterwards.
Yeah. All right. And Aleena, before anyone got official word that there was going to be trouble with the dole this year, 2 days before the election, which is only a few days from now, maybe it's actually not even a few days from now. I'm thinking maybe it's only a couple of days from now. What was the first sign that there was going to be trouble with the dole?
And I'm sorry, just to clarify, the dole are what?
Yeah,
again?
it's the food dole. When you give out like several weeks worth of food.
Oh, okay. There's trouble with the food. Okay, for some reason I had it in my head. You were talking about a monster.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
like,
okay. The Thieves Guild buys, periodically the Thieves Guild, frequently the
there was a dead rat. There was a dead rat by several of the grains, and that's not a good sign.
Nice. Okay. Asor-Ash. Why have you never joined the Thieves Guild?
Oh.
Or paid the basic protection money?
Well, the basic protection money is, it's like half of what you take. It's
right.
That's not basic protection. That's extortion. And besides, I'm not really a thief by avocation. I'm a thief by necessity and opportunity.
Gotcha. All right. Have you had a run-in with the Thieves Guild before?
Sure. I've had a couple of scenarios where I've had to fast talk my way out of
Right.
about to get caught with my hand in the till somewhere that it shouldn't have been. And I think maybe it was one of those that Aleena caught me on, spotted me cutting a purse, and for whatever reason took pity on the poor starveling, and didn't hand me over when she might have.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. And underneath your neighborhood, you have branches of Goblintown. Any place the sewers or the other tunnels underneath the city extend, you'll have incursions incursions of Goblintown. When did you realize there were goblins still in your neighborhood after dark who had left the city and come back in?
Who had
illicit means? When did you first, what young tender age did you first start realizing that goblins did not all, they all left? You tell the goblins, oh, it's nightfall, you got to leave, and they all leave, but then you see them again. When did you sort of clue into what was going on?
Saw them on the surface streets?
Yeah. So you saw them on the surface streets at night.
So it was not too terribly long ago. It was after I had to take up this trade of transporting messages and making deliveries to pay my rent. And I actually spotted a couple of them slipping out of a exit from Goblintown onto the street, and so I decided to investigate a little bit, and I discovered these tunnels or sewers, and I realized that at the time that a clever fellow who made his trade by making deliveries and delivering messages and things like that for patrons who might not want people to know what was going on could take advantage of that. So I've actually been to Goblintown once or twice.
Okay.
You know how to use it. You can get in and out of places without being seen. And
right. Right. What was your typical route into and out of Goblintown?
I think so. In the northeast neighborhood, there is let's go all stereotypical here. There's a really divey tavern that in the basement behind one of the ale casks. There's a little bolt hole that leads into Goblintown.
Could you give me a name for that tavern?
Sure. It is the Horizontal Goat.
All right. All right. So coming back to Kreigast, have you had a chance to think of a bond for one of these two? Oh yeah, you do. Yeah. You did. Sorry, I did not see that you'd added it. I was scrolled down.
No worries.
Would you go ahead and read that out? And
yeah, Aleena is the only one at the Thieves Guild that I trust.
So Kreigast, they get food for the whole neighborhood once a year, and it's a lot of food. Why don't you trust the Thieves Guild?
I mean, that's just once a year, and they're basically just buying people off. I mean, they're not good for the neighborhood.
Okay. All right. All right.
I just want to point out, I love that Kreigast knows Aleena. It says Aleena is the only one at the Thieves Guild you can trust, and Asor-Ash has a bond with Aleena because she knows that he's done freelance thieving, but hasn't ratted him out, which means she isn't trustworthy. That's amazing.
Or she has a moral compass. Maybe that's what I'm trusting in.
I just love those two angles. I just would have pointed out. Thank you guys. That's awesome.
Wonderful. All right. All right. So we've already gone over the X card. We've done bonds. We've done a few questions. So what I want to do is kind of set the scene for you guys, and then we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then kind of come down from there. I'm gonna do some aggressive, assertive framing, for you, and then we will pick up the adventure kind of from the door of the proverbial dungeon. So, as Aleena pointed out, the grain stocks that were brought in as part of the election day dole, or the election eve dole, were clearly poisoned and had to be sort of swept out and swept off. Thieves being brilliant, though, the Thieves Guild, being brilliant and opportunistic, they were able to get a new shipment of grain. That new shipment of grain was seized by the city at the docks. And impounded in a city warehouse, kind of outside the city walls, near the river docks. The city's on a big river, so the docks are kind of right off the river, and so the new grain was impounded and seized for being property of the Thieves Guild, who are under investigation for a recent raid on a house of religious, the house of worship. There were the city is insisting that the compensation from either the perpetrators or the neighborhood be made to the Temple of the Gargoyle, which was raided in our last city-state adventure. Kreigast may or may not know something about that raid, and the damage that was done, and some scrolls that went missing, which I believe you walked away with, correct? Correct there, Kreigast?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
All right. Not to cast aspersions and accusations at you. But there were some strange scrolls that went missing after you raided them and stole one of their sacrificial victims who'd been duly arrested by charter of the secret police, and that's it's a rough situation. Aleena, the several leaders of the Thieves Guild have been placed under house arrest outside of the guild compound, as part of enforcing this impounding of the dole. And then to ensure that nobody went through Goblintown to get or to try to carry the dole back, or hire people to carry the dole packages through Goblintown, or the barrels or crates that contain the grain through Goblintown. The horizontal goat was shut down. Again, by charter from the secret police, the Black Lotus, who are beloved by everyone, as you might be able to guess. You all have been sent through to find And sorry, my notes are not where they need to be. Sorry. So I'm losing my names. To Goblintown. Aleena, because you're one of the few people who can move, who knows somebody who can go to Goblintown and move through it without drawing too much attention. And you've been told to find Queen Nirma, who serves as queen in Goblintown. And ask Queen Nirma. You've been given a substantial amount of silver for this task. You've been asked to find Queen Nirma and ask her to assign goblins to break into the impound warehouse and bring in the supply grain from the docks to the northeast side, going underneath the city state. Can't go under the wall, can't go through the wall, or can't go over the wall, can't go through the wall. So the only choice the thieves have right now is to send you three to see if you can arrange to have the grain go under the wall. The thieves have not been on the Thieves Guild has not been on the best terms with the goblins. No two groups of goblins or families of goblins look specifically alike. What I'd like to know from each of you is, what is the strangest goblin you've ever seen, or what's been a feature of the strangest goblin you've ever seen? And I will I'll start with Keith, because I've not asked you to do something first yet. So
I knew a goblin dockworker named Skew, because I know you're going to ask me his name next, so I'll just give his name right up front. It's Skew, and Skew was like bright blue, really unusual coloring, with with orange eyes, very distinctive looking.
Interesting. All right. And then just going straight across the bottom of my screen, Matt, what is the strangest looking goblin you ever saw?
In an otherwise normal looking goblin, in the middle of his forehead, he had not a third eye, but a third ear.
Is that someone you knew?
No,
Okay.
Definitely not.
Just some random goblin walking down the middle of the street.
Yeah, I did like a double take, triple take, and then stared uncomfortably. And then the goblin made some sort of rude gesture, and I was embarrassed.
All right. Was it a humanoid ear, a goblinoid ear, an animal ear?
Goblinoid. Yeah, it matched his right ear.
So kind of pointed and flappy.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Rich, what is the strangest goblin Aleena ever saw?
Oh, she saw Scree, the two-headed goblin. The right head always looks behind, so really hard to sneak up on him.
Nice. How did you know Scree's name?
He's kind of a two-headed goblin.
Oh, and everybody just knows the two-headed goblin.
Everyone knows about at the goat.
Okay.
There's a bard that sings the ballad of Scree.
Oh man, how does Scree feel about that ballad?
Not good. It's not.
Yeah.
It's mostly limericks. It's not pleasant.
That's just lazy barding.
Mm.
All right. With the horizontal goat closed, it took you all a while to track down a path down to Goblintown. But it turns out if you sneak below the old bathhouses, where the the moderately wealthy people for the Northeast side go to take baths. So if you sneak below the bathhouses and sort of down from the water heating tubs and down below the cisterns where the cold water sits, where it's waiting to be heated, and where you have stock supplies of rose scented soap and other sort of excessively tawdry cheap bath supplies that smell heavily of fake flowers. You eventually get to the drainage for the bath waters, where they're drained out of the bathhouses and into the tunnels and sewers below the city. Climbing down, you still smell the foul stench of climbing down into the sewers and tunnels below the city, but it's accompanied by the strong smell of flowers. And you've been assured that there are tunnels here that will lead you to the doors of Goblintown, or to the gates of Goblintown, or maybe the back doors of Goblintown. No one's really perfectly certain where this leads, but people swear that somebody has done it before. It could be why the Thieves Guild was willing to just have Aleena and two of her friends do this route for them while they tried to brainstorm other solutions. It could be that. It could be that they just really trust Aleena, who is apparently very trustworthy. And sure enough, you get to a landing at the kind of the edge of the kind of the broken stairs and small ladders and handholds that kind of lead you down. And there's a flickering light off in the distance. Around sort of a corner, you can see sort of a break in a wall, maybe a small passageway. And there's a flickering light, like torches or some old lanterns are burning off in that direction. What are you guys doing for light on your own?
Well, I have a lantern. If that's what we need to do, we need to be able to see, right? So
right.
Yeah, I'm also carrying a lantern.
All right.
I'm not. I've got a sword.
Swords are good too.
When we come back from break, Rich, I'll tell you the best line I heard at Gen Con 2016. So, but those of you with a lantern, I'd like you to go ahead and check your oil supply with a D6, I believe.
Yep. Oh, I overfilled mine.
You overfilled it?
But I do have 2 flasks of oil, so I'm
okay. So you're down to a D4 of oil in the lantern right now, and you can relight it. Kreigast, I'm not sure. I don't think you really need to check yours since Asor-Ash has that lantern out. And as you move towards what you're hoping is maybe an entrance into something associated with Goblintown. You kind of come around the corner, and there's several sort of like makeshift tables sort of laid out. And there's several goblins of various shapes. Some of them have billed mouths or sort of hooked beaked mouths. Some of them have big, weird feathered manes, almost like they're a cross between a bird and a lion. Others, look almost like a classic D&D goblin, but they're really slimy. And one of them is definitely skew. with that bright blue skin that only Skew has. And all of them are sort of laying on a table, or they're sort of like, sitting at a table sort of with their backs to you, in like an arm or a leg sort of extended out on the table. And you see several goblins standing around working with needles and what look like little bitty, like needles and like little bitty vials of ink or pigment of some sort. And they seem to be getting tattoos because every now and then one of them will curse loudly and say something about Mord or Riku. And these goblins who are giving tattoos are sort of moving around, between these various tables. There's a bunch of tables. There's besides Skew, there's only 3 or 4 other customers, and there's about 3 goblins who seem to be giving tattoos. The whole place smells vaguely of a combination of sweat and oil and flowers. Kind of, it's not very far from where the still warm drain waters of the baths upstairs sort of empty out. And there's these 3 goblins giving tattoos to about 4 or 5 other goblins. I'd like all of you to make a dexterity check. Roll a d20 and try to get under your dexterity. And tell me how you do.
Not so well. I missed it by 3.
All right.
Made it by 4.
All right.
Yeah, I made it by 12.
Asor-Ash's lantern light is not really showing up as you approach because it's now suddenly you're in a room that's sort of well lit, and all of a sudden there you are, Kreigast, sort of standing in the middle of a big kind of crack in the wall that leads back to where the water kind of drains out of the baths. When one of the goblins, not seeing either of the other 2 of you, turns around and says, like, "Are you gonna gawk? Or are you gonna pay for a tattoo?" And let's take a 5-minute break while you think about what to do now that you've been spotted by this cluster of goblins. I will see everybody about 8:25, and we'll pick up from there.
I'd forgotten to buy equipment, so I had already rolled for her coins and went through that.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Couldn't afford to get her anything other than a small shield because, that's the way it's designed. But the second level, do you think she could have? I'm okay if it's an L, but do you think she could have other leather armor? Or
I think at least a gambeson.
Okay, I'll go with gambeson. That sounds good. So she has a gambeson and a small shield.
Awesome.
So a total of 4 armor points then?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. My 12-year-old has another 12-year-old spend the night, so if you occasionally hear loudness, I apologize.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Last night, DC was being as noisy as New York traditionally is, so. All right.
Yeah, I was playing with Lowell a couple of weeks ago during a snowstorm, and the snowplows were going up and down the street outside the apartment. And
oh yeah,
one of them went by. It just, don't have that to contend with tonight.
What were you playing with Lowell?
Mutineer Zero.
Cool, good game, huh?
Yeah, it was great. I jumped on the wait list and ended up getting to play twice. It was awesome.
I need to get better about getting onto wait list.
Wait lists are the way, man. I get into like a third of my games through waitlist nowadays.
I can't bird dog the Slack channel the way some people apparently do, because
people are just like,
the alert will go off. The alert tone that is only triggered on my phone by someone posting to the pound whatever the game announcement Slack channel is, and by the time I can log into the site, the game will be filled up. Crazy. It's amazing. It takes me all of 90 seconds to get, pull up the web page and log in, and then game is full.
Yeah, no, it's been stressful for me a couple of times, because I was like, I'd really love to get into, oh wait, it's been posted for less than 5 minutes and it's already full, and the wait list is already, five people long.
I've been there. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. One sec. All right. Okay. All right. So, a goblin turned around with a querulous and quizzical look on his face, pointing straight at Kreigast. Doesn't seem to see the other two of you, even though Asor-Ash is holding a light, possibly because there's just so many torches and lights in this room. He's like, thought you'd sneak up on me, huh? What are you gonna steal? What are you gonna steal from a bunch of tattoo artists? Look, are you gonna pay for a tattoo, or are you gonna just leave?
Yeah, Kreigast is kind of startled, and he's not even thinking. He says, I'll pay, of course.
And Aleena, I'm going to let you know, you have a bag of silver, and I'm just going to use a Macchiato Monsters rule for that. You have a D10 bag of silver.
All right.
Sorry to cut you off there, Kreigast. I apologize. since we were talking about money, I thought I'd make sure I'd share that note of money for you. So you're gonna pay, okay? All right, paying.
What do you have any samples of your art?
The person talking to you turns around and is like, oh, you know, we don't show samples. We like, you know, we look at what you want us to tattoo, and we let that speak to us.
Interesting. Well, I'm as you can see, untattooed. So the process is all new to me.
Like you've got robes on, man.
Yes, of course. Yeah, and I just pull up my tattered robes and show them my bare arms and such.
All right. So he points to like an empty table. He's just like, wait over there. I'll be over to take a look at you in a minute.
All right. Yeah, I walk over, pop on the table, waiting patiently.
Aleena and Asor-Ash, what are you guys doing? You've not been spotted yet, and people have their backs to you. Just to kind of give you there seemed to be this kind of underused tattoo parlor seems to be ready for a whole lot more tattoo workers, a whole lot more people to come down and get tattoos. There's about 4 passageways leading out of here. And it looks like this is sort of a makeshift room. It looks like it was dug out and set up as a room, and then parts of it collapsed over the years. But there's definitely 4 passages leading out. And you could basically, from where you are, they lead to one on your far right, one to sort of right center, one sort of left center, and one sort of sorry, there's 3 passages leading out. One to the right, one to the middle, and one to the left. I apologize. I was looking at the map. I don't know who drew this map, but clearly he is no Dyson Logos. Yeah, there's one exit kind of to your right. One the and right now you can't see my hand, so there's one right, one center, one left. And they're kind of on the opposite wall from where you are, even though the room is not perfectly, rectangular shaped, or perfectly really any shape that, the Euclideans would recognize. And Kreigast has sort of been chastised into sitting over on a table. The goblins are facing away from you again. What do you do?
I looked at Asor-Ash. He's the thief.
You are the tough.
I'm looking at exactly. I'm looking at Aleena. You're the muscle. I mean, I think these guys are okay. You think they're okay? I think they might be okay. They seem okay.
Yeah, they're goblins. They're fine. We fine for goblins. I'll glance over. Are any of them wearing tattoos?
So there's odd tattooed patterns, kind of, slowly being etched out with needles onto the backs of the people that are there. Several of them are wearing tattoos. The one who's been talking to Kreigast is shorter than the average goblin, but seems to move around pretty quickly. Even though he's a good bit shorter than the tables, good bit shorter than the other goblins who are stretched out on the tables. And he's one of the ones that has sort of a big, sort of what looks almost like a mane, but seems to be mainly made up of feathers, sort of around the scruff of his head and up where his hair should be. And his mane is like all black. There's some sort of white streaks in it, but it's the feathers themselves are all black. Or they seem to be all black from where you are.
Is it tribal designs? Are there crude like
they're
caveman
hard to
drawings?
sort of make out, but it seems to be kind of a tribal design or intricate pattern.
And is it like a black ink, a blue ink, a green ink?
There's some it's definitely designed for goblin skin. So those of them that have darker skin seem to be getting lighter colors, and those of them with lighter skin seem to be getting darker colors. There's definitely more there's definitely a lot of colors sort of in the palette, but they seem to be fairly monochrome.
Astor, you should get one. It'll make you look really tough.
Think like what?
Maybe like a chain, like a spiked chain around your arm. It'll make your muscle look bigger. My brothers, they all have tattoos.
Sounds kind of cool. Yeah, so you think that would make me look tough?
And it'll ingratiate us to them, and we can ask about Queen Nirma.
Okay. Sure, you've got my back, though.
Of course, I always have your back.
All right. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just I'll walk in to the room. Right. So here, I'll give the lantern. I'll hand the lantern off to Aleena first. Just I'll walk in kind of casually.
And Aleena, are you trying to stay hidden?
I'm keeping eye peeled. I'm not a great sneaker, but yeah, I'm trying to hang in that little hallway, but able to hear and watch.
Yeah, you've already you've gotten set up, and I'd like no, I'm not just so you walk in intending to be seen there, Asor-Ash, correct?
Yeah, just
Yeah, he looks at you with a scowl, much like he gave to Kreigast, and sends you over to sit on a, like all of you, got to suddenly come down in the back doorways. Can't just come to the goblin market on market night, just like normal people. Yeah, go sit over there. Riku will take care of you.
okay, sure. I'll just go and I'll sit over there and wait for Riku. He's good, right? He knows what he's doing?
This is the Hall of High Art.
Okay.
Not some like surface level tattoo parlor.
Okay. Sure.
And more, Kreigast, more the goblin who initially talked to you, the one with sort of the feathered mane, sort of comes over and is, so where do you want the tattoo?
So I've been thinking a little bit, and I want to go with my index fingers. And I don't know. Are you amenable to using some script?
We can use scripts. Yeah. Yeah, the index fingers. Do you mind something spilling over onto your palm?
That's fine. I guess. Yeah. Let's. If you could sketch it out for me. But what I want to incorporate is 2 words. One on each finger. My right finger, zip. My left finger, zop.
He sort of nods at you and sort of rolls his eyes. And I'd like you to make a charisma check there, Kreigast.
All right. Oh, that's a fail.
He's like, look, sir, you will not tell an artist what to put on the canvas. You just provide the canvas. Are we agreed?
I mean, I have to live with this. There's just, I'm giving my hands as canvas and just asking for a little piece of my fingers to say something specific. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable.
So it's 19 coin to do it my way, the correct way, or 39 coin to get what you want.
That is just quite a difference. Well, I mean, it is an investment.
You're going to be living with us for the rest of your life.
Indeed. Yeah, I think with respect, I'd like to do it my way. So, what is 39? All right. That is tough but fair.
39. All right. Well, all right. And it's a while. I mean, you guys came down here after dark, and it's hard to keep track of time when you can't see the moon and you can't really hear the bells upstairs or up on the surface. But it's a while. But there's a lot of sketching and drawing going on and detail work around. Zip and zop, but those words definitely take shape. And over at Asor-Ash's table, Riku is a much nicer goblin, but seems to be a female goblin, and but instead of looking like a classic D&D goblin that you might expect to be there, it's the skin is almost amphibious, or like a frog or a salamander skin. It's cold and sort of clammy to the touch, or cool and clammy to the touch, and there's a kind of uneasy sliminess that sort of comes off after as your touch. But Riku seems to really like you, like just like really enthusiastic, wants to know where you want the tattoo.
So yeah, I was told that maybe a goblin tattoo would make me look like tougher, not mean,
Tougher.
Harder, so
Tougher.
So what do you think? I mean, what would impress I don't know, what would impress you?
So you trust me, right?
On my arm, maybe? Sure. I look at the other goblins.
Yeah, roll up your sleeve. Put it on the table.
All right, so I'll put my forearm up there.
And the tattoo that seems to emerge is definitely it's almost like a plant or an ivy of some sort. Sort of, it's in green, but just kind of a monochrome green. It's almost like it's grafting and growing out of your skin. It's not just some sort of generic ivy thing, but it's like it's a living plant that is taken root in your arm and has kind of grown out from there, kind of curling around it. I mean, it's clearly not that. It's just a drawing of a living plant, but the detail into where the plant roots into you is odd and interesting. And the leaves, after Riku sort of draws them, she fills them in with various colors, ranging from sort of a bright yellow to a various shades of green, kind of a blue, a little bit of red. And she works pretty fast. And that starts to it looks good. I mean, both your tattoos look pretty exceptional. And it's not the chain that was recommended to you, but it looks pretty badass. There's this drawing of a thing growing out of your arm and wrapping around it. And now Zip and Zop, or is it Zip and Zop?
Yeah, one zip on the right finger, Zop on the left index finger.
Right. Are coming along. There's clearly lots of other like decoration around Zip and Zop the words. And your fingers are sort of being, sort of carried up, covered over with small quasi-tribal, almost like dragon scale patterns, from which the words Zip and Zop emerge. And I'd like you to make a charisma check really quick there. Kreigast.
It's another fail.
It's another fail. Okay.
Yeah.
And your fingers start to itch, and you're not really sure why. But it's a really unpleasant itch. Not from where the needles go in, just sort of like all over. As it's being cleaned off, and it's the tattoos are done. And then you hear a low moaning coming out of the leftmost corridor. And then something inside the leftmost corridor starts to topple over, or like a lantern gets knocked down, or a lantern or whatever it is that was producing light in the leftmost corridor seems to be toppled down. And you start to hear a low moaning. You've been staying hidden this whole time, Aleena, and you notice that low moaning because you're not getting a tattoo. You're not in pain. You're sort of watching the scene. What do? You see the light in that corridor go out.
Well, I've got this lantern
Mm-hmm.
that was handed off to me. So I'm assuming this is some kind of goblin something or other, but I'll head over and check it out. They seem safe. They're getting really amazing tattoos. I'm jealous, but my body's a temple.
Right. Make a dexterity check. Let's just see how well you do it not getting noticed.
Okay. Let me do that thing. And you roll under your stat, correct?
Right. You want to roll under it, not equal to.
I did great.
Awesome.
I rolled a 4 against a dex of 14. So
nice. All right. You are. So Aleena, you start moving across there. Nobody turns around to look at you. You are, even with the lamp in your hand. The room is still so well lit. And you pull your lantern light kind of up there to the leftmost passage. And you see what looks like a human-sized figure dart behind a rock in that passageway. The passageway seems to either be crumbled, sort of a mixture of crumbled construction and a little bit of cave-in that have been cleared out. So there's a lot of rock and a lot of old poured concrete. And then old stone, construction stone down there, and then the lantern catches like a human-sized figure that just darts behind a rock as soon as the lantern light comes up, and you hear kind of a hissing. The hissing. I'd like you to make a wisdom check there, Aleena.
Okay, wisdom is a 12. Let's give it a shot. Roll a 1.
A 1? Awesome.
Yeah.
Aleena, what's the name of somebody who disappeared, who owed the Thieves Guild, someone you didn't like?
Oh,
Owed the Thieves Guild a lot of money? Calic?
Calic.
What did Calic do that made him so obnoxious? Or her so obnoxious?
Well, I mean, he actually got one of my brothers in trouble because he was skimming off the top, and they worked on a crew. They were a second story crew.
Oh,
and he
nice.
skimmed off the top and blamed my brother. And my brother got on deep water until we found out that it was actually Calic.
And it's frequently happens when you finally end up in trouble with the Thieves Guild. When you finally end up in trouble with the Thieves Guild, you are frequently allowed to just be arrested. In fact, some would suggest that there's almost a target on your back if you piss off the wrong people in the Thieves Guild, because no one will do anything. And Calic got arrested a few days back.
Good.
I swear that face that was crawling on the ground and sniffing before the light in your lantern finally caught it, and it darted behind something and then made a hissing sound, was Calic's face.
Oh, I'm gonna go stab it.
So yeah, you're just taking you're just going to go over
Drawing
there.
my sword, and I'll just walk right over and stick it.
And then you get around the edge of this rock, and you see what's definitely Calic. And as your lantern comes up, his gray hands, and he had normal hands and normal face before, covering his kind of gray skinned face, and he lets out a loud hissing sound.
This sounds weird.
And I'd like you. Let's have you make a really quick initiative check. Just see if you roll under your dexterity. You don't have to add anything to it. See if you roll into your dexterity.
I want to take this die home. I just rolled a 2.
Nice, congratulations. Yeah, you can plunge that sword in. So go ahead and just roll strength.
Here's where I'll fail. 17. Yep, called it.
Oh no. Yeah, you act first, but Calic has never been known for being exceptionally strong, or at least not particularly good at a fight. But his hands dart out and just sort of clap your sword and then sort of move it away before it can really kind of cut into him. And he hisses, and what's in his mouth are not normal human teeth.
Oh.
They are over large, and the incisors and canines are both grotesquely large. And his hands have sort of formed sort of claw shapes. And this is a man who's not been missing. You last saw him not that long ago. And then you hear more hissing coming from the end of this, or at least further along this hallway, kind of beyond the edge of your lantern light. And Calic's going to try to claw at you. So roll your strength or dexterity, whichever is better, twice. I read the black hack so that in a heretical way that suggests you can defend with either your strength or dexterity. Not everyone agrees with me. So
we're playing the game you're running, so I agree with you too.
Yeah. I cannot be wrong in this context. So roll your strength or dexterity, whichever is better.
I roll 2d20 because I'm rolling with disadvantage, or
no, but you're being attacked twice.
oh, okay.
So you thought, yeah.
So a pass and a fail.
A pass and a fail. So roll a d6 and just have it. So have it rounding up. So you're going to roll a d3.
It's 2.
Okay. So since he's got one hand on you, he's going to try to bite your hand.
What? That's the same hand that Kreigast saved.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to try to just bite right down
What is
on it.
up with his hand? Is it cursed?
It is something you're going to need to roll either strength or dexterity to get away from colic.
Well, I'll do that thing. Let me roll with dexterity, and I make it by 3.
Nice. You made it by 3. You pull your hand away and kind of go bouncing back. I like to, if you defend with dexterity, I like to think it involves a little bit of moving away.
That 2, was that 2 hit points of damage that I took?
Yeah, just 2 hit points of damage.
I have Gambus on. Would those armor points?
Those will go against your armor points first, and then your armor points kind of come down. And Calic seems to be moving after you. There seems to be a commotion in that hallway. And at the edge of your lantern light, Aleena, you see 3 more of these gray-skinned creatures like Calic moving towards you.
Ooh, but only one Calic, like the rest are
Calic, yeah.
Other assholes. Okay.
Yeah. They may have been nice people.
Well, that's possible, but not likely. Okay. I'm scampering back to the tattoo parlor. Hey, there are some weird gray men. I just named them.
And the guy working on kind of cleaning up the last details of Mord, who's working on cleaning up the last details of Kreigast tattoo, looks up and like, Grayman, where did you come from? What are you talking about? Grayman?
Oh, I'm here with those 2 handsome fellows, and I was keeping watch in case you were going to knife and kill them, which you didn't. Good job. And down that hallway are 3 weird gray men who skitter along, and their mouths are misshapen, and they're coming this way.
Yeah, I mean, with that, Kreigast will spring up and just kind of shake his itching hands and get ready for action.
And what about you, Asor-Ash?
I'll jump up and draw my dagger and move very quickly to position the goblins between me and the gray man.
Move straight to the back of the line. That's good.
Well, you know.
Yeah, the goblins start. The goblins start getting up, and Skew actually sort of moves back to stand by you, looking kind of confused. And he's a big, broad-shouldered guy, but he seems to be a little bit nervous about this whole notion of gray men. And you hear Riku sort of go under the table and sort of flip it up that you'd been sitting at. It just says, "Fucking Black Lotus."
I'll look at Skew when she says that, and I'll say, Black Lotus?
You guys know the Black Lotus is the secret police.
No, we're not. No.
Yeah. What?
She's pointing at the goblins when she says that. Or not the goblins. She's pointing at the things coming out of the tunnel. Which they are now, emerging from the tunnel.
Oh, sweet.
They don't want you down here, so they send those things down to just, stock the sewers and clean everything up.
Oh. Well, we should tell Queen Nirma. Where's she at?
It's market night. She can be anywhere in the market. Let's hope she wasn't down that way.
Let's hope.
Are you guys going to try to run away, or are you going to try to fight these things?
I'm look at those guys. If they're going to fight, I'm down for fighting. If we're taking off, I'm good.
Let's check your initiative real quick, which is just a dex check. Tell me whether you got there's no bonus to this or penalty to this, so you can just make a standard dex check. If you get under, you're going to go first before they do anything. If you go under, if you go over, they will do something before you can. And then I'll let you have a quick conversation about what you want to do.
I rolled under.
Under?
I did too.
How'd it go, Aleena?
Way under.
Way under. All right. You guys are going first. The goblins look like they're ready to start throwing things, but a few of them, especially the ones who'd been sort of laid out, relaxed on the tables, look like they're ready to bolt to the one of the other two corridors. What about you guys?
Yeah, Kreigast is not a big fan of the secret police. He's kind of pushing up his sleeves, and he's getting ready for.
And Kreigast, you recognize these things as ghouls.
Okay, yeah. These things are filthy abominations. We can't let them roam freely.
Yeah, and you know that some of the secret police will sometimes have people turned into ghouls. Prisoners turned into ghouls, and they just sort of weaponize them by just kind of unleashing them into the sewers or into a house or wherever they want. Anything they want just kind of cleared out.
Good. That is terrible.
That the secret police are assholes. So are you going to stand and fight, or are you going to get away? Sorry, just wanted to make sure.
I think I'm standing and fighting.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got 4 ghouls coming out of the shadows. And I should make sure I have hit points for those things. They're kind of coming towards you. What are you going to do?
I think I'm gonna blast them with my I'm gonna try my new web spell.
Your new web spell? Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. See if I can just immobilize them.
All right, I'm gonna kind of scroll down to where I can see web. Since I've never gotten to use the web spell before.
Yeah.
That was not an appeal for pity. I've always picked levitate. All right. Yeah, they seem to be standing close enough together that you could get, if you hit it right over or right near that entrance or right in front of that entrance, you may be able to get them. Why don't you you're just gonna cast it. Why don't you test intelligence to see if you keep the spell?
No, that's a fail. So
yeah, so you're gonna lose that second level spell slot. But the web appears kind of over the door, and all of a sudden the ghouls are just sort of caught there. They're sort of caught in this kind of, what does the web look like?
So yeah, I guess so. Kreigast, I kind of just rush up until I'm within the appropriate range, and I look at my hands and my new tattoos, and I say, zips up, and I just point my hands up, and then this goo just kind of apparates above them, and it just drops on them. It's like this gray viscous like slime, and any kind of movement just kind of makes it kind of a lot of just like stringy, tangly, I don't know, strands just appear.
As you do that, the patterns around the word zip and zop sort of become sort of a webbing pattern.
Nice.
and it itches for a second, and then it becomes kind of a dull throbbing itch. It's a little more than you would expect for a new tattoo, or a fresh tattoo, but kind of a dull throbbing itch. But it flares up for just a second as it changes, and now it seems to be this kind of webbing pattern around the word zip and zop on your hands. Aleena, what are you up to?
I think I'm going to hack up some of these suckers.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of my job. So I'm going to go for that.
All right.
Yeah, so roll under strength.
Yeah, roll under strength.
That's a 9, so I'm under strength.
Nice.
And my damage, attack damage,
Mhm.
it like auto-populate is D8, D6. Which one do I use of that?
You'll be using a D8 for weapons, and the D6 is anything that if you don't have a real weapon that you know how to use, it's just sort of improvised.
Gotcha. And I rolled an 8.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them.
Damn.
Like, how did you sort of go at this one you just killed?
It's Kellic. I'm going after him first, and I'm aiming to stab him like right in the forehead.
Yeah,
Stupid ugly face.
Straight through his stupid ugly face. Your sword comes out the other side. There's remarkably little blood, or anything really messy, because he's dead, already dead. And but that kind of takes his brain out of commission, and he just kind of lets out a gasp and a hiss and stops moving. You can attack again on a second target, being a warrior of second level.
Oh, that's right. I will do that. Then I'm going to sweeping like a slash across towards the next nearest one.
Nice. Make that attack.
I have failed.
No. Oh, man. Kreigast, make a wisdom check.
Yeah, this probably won't go well. So, oh no, I passed. Wow, it's about time.
Nice. Yeah. You've done okay on this web, and even a sword slashing around is not going to disrupt it. Short term. Asor-Ash, what are you doing back there?
So I'm gonna turn to Skew real quick, and I'll say, look, they're like immobilized. They're helpless. And I'll grab like a stool or something that one of the tattoo artists, and I'll stick it in his hands. I'll say, take this and bash him in the head with it. Come on, you're a big burly dock worker. You helped me shift all those bales that time when we met. Go cave in their skulls. And then I'll draw my dagger, and I'll make as if to help him, but I'll be encouraging him on my hand on his back, saying,
Are you surging in there at all, or are you just trying to encourage?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to look bad in front of my friends, but I also want to be, I want to be careful here. So
you want to kind of give yourself a goblin shield.
Yeah, exactly. So if I can encourage him, I'll go in there. I'll get the knife in.
Make a charisma check there, Asor-Ash.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Okay, I don't know if it didn't roll or if I rolled. Let me just do this. I made it.
Nice. All right. Yeah, all of a sudden, Skew picks up that stool you handed him, and he and the other goblins pick up various, chairs or planks, rip a piece of board off a table and go to town on those 3 remaining ghouls. Do you guys wait around, or you just kind of slip out? Neither of you have paid for your tattoos yet.
And we think the queen could be anywhere in the market?
The queen, yeah. That is what they said. The queen was somewhere in the market.
So it's probably not down the hallway that ghouls just came from.
You would hope not. That's what they were saying they hoped.
So I'll look at Kreigast is smart. Which one of these hallways do you think the goblin market might be down, Kreigast? Well, I've been here before though too, right? So maybe potentially.
Yeah, you've definitely been to the market. You've not been to every part of the market. The market is kind of big and sprawling. And you know, a little bit scary. You've heard of the Hall of High Art, which is where goblins get their tattoos.
And humans too, apparently.
Humans do sometimes come down for tattoos from the goblins. I mean, they're not as fashionable as human tattoos, but they said that they're said to have goblin magic in them.
I think we can verify that.
I mean, I'll just kind of guess, and I'll say, oh, it's probably that way.
Which way are you going? There's still like there's the hall in the center, and there's the hall to your far, you know, it was to the right when you came in. The ghouls came out of the hallway to your left.
I think I'm gonna say, I mean, which are the openings like about the same size, or is there any indication that one's bigger? Or
they both look kind of scraggly, and you know, they just look like, you know, holes in the wall that lead to cracks in the in the floors. Or
yeah, then I'm gonna point at the right hallway.
All right. All right.
And if there's, I'm gonna just look. Is there anyone that I can pay for my tattoo?
They seem to be hacking away at the ghouls right now, who are firmly caught in your web.
Okay, I'm going to. I'm just gonna call out to the. I forget the name of the goblin that I did not get along with.
That was Mord.
Mord. I'm just gonna yell at Mord. Mord. I'm leaving my coin here, and I'm just gonna put it on the table.
Make a charisma check just for fun. just for amusement's sake.
Yeah. I passed.
All right, yeah. Mord sort of gives you a thumbs up and turns around and starts, you know, beating what looks one of the ghouls with what looks like he's just kind of popped several of the vials of pigment into a sack and kind of turn that into a makeshift blackjack. And you guys are just heading off into the room to the right, correct?
Yep.
All right. As you get to the room to the right, you notice, you make a wisdom check.
That was everyone you're asking for?
Yeah, everybody.
Okay. I failed it.
Made it.
Made it?
I made it.
Nice. So Kreigast, you are walking in, and there's as you get into this sort of passageway, there's lights, kind of already sconces, or kind of makeshift sconces along the wall. There's places where lanterns are either set on a ledge or somebody has installed like a sconce at uneven spacing. There's a torch there. Or maybe there's spots for a small hanging lantern or a candelabra. It looks like they've taken whatever they can just sort of scrounge from the surface to provide light. But all these hallways seem largely lit. But you're overwhelmed by this dense fungal smell. The smell of like a fungus just growing. It's some of it is almost sort of rich and foody, but others of it's just sort of like excessively dense and earthy. As you sort of enter that room, the younger two definitely smell a smell of flowers coming from somewhere up ahead. And as you move along the passageway, you go about 50, 60 feet. There's a place where you're over some grates and there's running water beneath you, kind of going off in a direction. And then shortly after that, up ahead, as the air seems to become a little thicker, a little more muggy, you see what look like mushrooms or toadstools kind of growing out of the walls. And shortly after that, you start to see large toadstools or mushrooms of some sort sort of coming out of the floor. And none of them seem like each other. They all seem to be of radically different varieties. There's some that are almost as large as, say, your forearms, and some that seem to be almost as large as like your legs, or at least up to the knee. And they have these big kind of like caps in different colors, and some of them are kind of curved downward and are fairly thick. Others are almost papery and fairly extended outward. And there's some goblin voices up ahead, sort of kind of scattered among sort of a dense portion of the mushrooms. And this passageway kind of extends, kind of widens out, and then sort of narrows again, kind of at the edge of the light. And you can see that it seems to be fewer mushrooms, sort of like 30 or 40 feet past where you are now. And it seems like the passageway is going to narrow again. But right now it's like this dense, sort of widened out area that's kind of filled with mushrooms growing from the wall and from the floor. And you're hearing kind of goblin voices sort of like in there, sort of just almost just chit-chatting. And occasionally you see like a mushroom just kind of come flying out and sort of scatter into the path. Like somebody had picked it and then discarded it. What would you like to do?
I don't think the market is this way.
I've never actually been down here. I just kind of guessed which way to go. It certainly, I don't know. Does it smell like the market? I look at my companions.
Smells like a farm.
Yeah.
Mushroom farm.
As the three of you talk, the other voices get very quiet.
Maybe we should move along.
And you see a very tiny, I mean, like up to maybe halfway up high your calf, goblin sort of peek out from behind a mushroom. And big sort of triangular ears, much more pointed than you would normally expect goblins to be, and much more extended, and sort of a dark sort of mask of sort of scales and fur around the face, kind of extending back up into the hair and around the back of the head, and then duck back very quickly. And then you hear more muttering in a language you don't understand.
I think maybe back from whence we came. And I'm just walking briskly back to where we came from.
Agreed.
I am definitely not bringing up the rear, so I will scamper along.
You hear a voice Like, if you want to go back that way, you can.
Who are you?
Fretzlia.
Okay, Threslia, we're looking for the market.
Yeah, this is the mushroom garden. You can come here and we will pick mushrooms for you, or you can just pay us and pick your own mushrooms, whichever you want.
We're not after mushrooms. We're looking for Queen Nirma.
Queen Nirma likes mushrooms.
Oh, what are her favorite mushrooms?
Yeah, she likes all kinds. It depends on what she really wants.
If you were to hand a mushroom to impress Queen Nirma, what mushroom would it be? And I'm looking around.
Do you want to have a conversation with her after you hand it to her?
Yes.
All right, so not this one. And she throws one she has in her hand against the wall. That's bad for having conversations. Oh.
What was that one good for?
It's good for seeing things.
I look over to my friends. Do you want that?
Yeah, Kreigast kind of perked up at that. That sounds like it might be interesting for his magical research.
For achieving everything you want, you can be.
Right.
A couple of other goblins joined this short one. They both look like her, Threslia, and they hand you some small gray mushrooms. They're like, I suspect if the Black Lotus is acting as we predicted, that and you can pick that up, Kreigast, pretty easily without being spotted, since they're busy picking other things. That Her Majesty would appreciate some Ghoul's Bane, and that they show you like a handful that each of them have of small gray, kind of almost stone-colored mushrooms. We could part with them for 15 coin.
I'll chip in towards that. That sounds smart.
Yeah, I'll look. I could throw in 5.
Sure.
This is getting expensive. I mean, I have to eat next week, everyone. I mean, I can chip in, but between the tattoo and this.
You know what you didn't have to do, though, Kreigast? You didn't have to pay for the tattoo.
I think it was worth it. Yeah, just like hold up my hands so you can see my fingers. Yeah.
And you've already pocketed the psychoactive mushroom?
Yes. Yep.
I made up cool names for all of them except for the psychoactives. But they hand you, they hold out the Ghoul's Bin. They're like 15 coin?
15 coin.
Yep.
They're like, yeah, all right. What are you guys going to carry then? They're just kind of holding it in their hand.
Got a backpack. I figure it'll fit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's great. And they're like, it is a pleasure doing business with you. Tell Her Majesty that her subjects of Clan Inruk say hello and greetings, and we hope she does not get eaten by a ghoul.
Is that a frequent problem? We just ran into some.
It's been foreseen that ghouls will be a increasing problem down here. Something about trouble on the surface causing trouble down here.
You wouldn't know where we might find Queen Nirma now that we have an appropriate fungal gift for her.
You know, she may really appreciate that gift if you move quickly.
In which general direction would you suggest?
She points forward along the passageway, and then she's like, and then when you get ahead, make the sharpest left you can make. And follow back along.
All right. Yeah, look to my companions, and I'd say, I think we're done here, and I think this is a fine purchase, but maybe we should move along expeditiously.
I agree.
Yep.
So you guys are able to move along there, and they wave sort of pleasantly at you before they go back to doing something that seems to be involved in sorting mushrooms from each other. You have I'm going to say you have enough Ghoul's Bane to sort of rub it on 4 people or 3 people and 2 goblins. Or 3 humans and 2 goblins. And you continue along until you get to, weirdly, something that's a lot like the house you left. When you climb down here, you hear running water, but instead of coming from under your feet, it seems to be coming from ahead of you. And then you are hit again by the smell of flowers. And up ahead of you, there's a bunch of tubs, seem to be made out of wood or kind of surrounded by metal fixings or fixtures that kind of hold them in place. They're sealed with tar, and there's steam kind of coming out of all of them. And in about 4 of the 6 or 7 of them, you see goblins of various shapes and sizes. Sort of just kind of splashing around. In 2 of those goblins seem to have someone assisting them, scooping up water out of buckets and sort of pouring it into the tub, like over their head or something. And it's again that dense kind of bathhouse smell or the bathhouse kind of drainage smell of of bodies and sweat mixed with flowers. And there's sort of like ratty old towels just sort of thrown around, and some of them are sort of laying stacked up in piles. If you'd like to sneak through this, I'll need you to make a dexterity check. There is, as foretold by the goblins you just see, a very sharp left, almost kind of forming a triangle with back the way you came. And then there's kind of passageways kind of branching off to either side on the far side of the room. What would you guys like to do? Again, you can sneak through here. You can try to talk to the goblins. And all the passageways seem to be lit. You're not hearing anything from within them.
I say we slip through.
Slip through in which direction? Again, there's a super sharp left.
That one.
That you were advised to take, and then there's the two T, almost like a hallway just sort of passing through the far end of the room.
I'll just point at the extreme far left and look at my companions and nod my head.
Yeah, I nod in agreement.
I'll have everybody just make a dex check at advantage.
Oh yeah.
All right, I passed as well.
Aleena, how did that go? All right. Yeah, you guys kind of make a super sharp left. Everybody is enjoying their baths. Aleena, you do hear the Scree Scree song being hummed, and you realize out of the corner of your eye, and I'm saying that correctly, it's Scree Scree. Aleena, you had mentioned.
Oh, sorry, I nodded. Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. This is what I get for looking at my notes instead of at the screen.
No, it's okay. Yes. This song is Scree Scree.
Yeah. You hear somebody humming the Scree Scree song, and you see a very annoyed-looking Scree Scree sort of sitting in a tub, just sort of staring at the wall as you sort of make this turn, super sharp turn, sort of heading almost back the way you came, but at a slightly different angle. Anything you guys want to do before you head down this hallway? You've been completely unseen.
I think we keep on moving. I mean, the mushroom vendor kind of encouraged speed.
All right. As you guys get sort of down this hallway, you begin to hear sort of a low squeal or a screech. And you hear more of that hissing sound sort of coming up from ahead of you. The hallway is still well lit, but the room in front of you seems to have gone dark, or the room at the end of it seems to have gone dark. Every time you've kind of seen a room up ahead of you, it's been well lit. And you hear some squeals and squeaks and screeches coming from the end of there, mixed with hisses. And maybe even some low tears or crying coming from down at the end of the hallway. And you can't quite see, it's kind of at an angle, but you can tell that wherever this hallway empties into is not lit. And that's where the squeals and squeaks, not loud, but definitely frightened, seem to be coming from, as well as those weird hissing noises that Kalik and his ghoulish friends were making. What would you like to do?
It sounds like somebody's in trouble. We'll feel pretty stupid if it's, Queen Nirma.
True. Okay. I was thinking it would be the perfect way to lure somebody into a trap, but you're right. If it's Queen Nirma, we'd be hosed. Okay. I'll draw my sword and head forward, shine a light for me, and try not to get in trouble.
I will do those things.
So you've got the lantern in one hand and a dagger in the other there, Asor-Ash?
Yep.
What about you, Kreigast?
Yeah, I think is the one lantern adequate, or maybe I should light mine as well?
I think that's, the two lanterns would make the same area a little, slightly brighter, but it would not necessarily extend the area that's lit.
Okay.
Unless you guys were to light one and move to different sides of whatever room you go into.
Right. Well, then I'll just I'll draw my sword in my right hand and brandish my left finger and move forward bravely.
Your left index finger specifically.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Aleena.
Yes.
You're taking out your sword and shield and moving ahead, or are you?
I am.
All right. So you're going to move in ahead of the rest. Sort
I
of
am trying to stay within the perimeter of the light, try not to move out of it, but yeah, I'm leading the way.
All right.
I figured I can draw attention. Our ex-merchant can use that for any advantage, and Zip and Zop can do some magic.
Awesome. Aleena, the light is coming from behind you. So as you kind of move around, and this is a kind of an oddly shaped corridor that doesn't approach the room directly, it kind of runs along the edge of the room and then sort of turns into an entryway. So as the light comes from, you step around the edge and the light comes from around you, and kind of spills back into the room. And you see at least two ghouls and then you see something move away from them really fast. You suspect they were about to pounce on a goblin who was trying to sneak this way. And that goblin saw you come into the light, saw the light come through and sort of scampered away. But the ghouls are now turning to face you. The three of you kind of standing there in the little doorway. Why don't we all roll initiative? And your lantern covers about, you're guessing, you can barely make out the back wall, but you can kind of clearly make out what you're guessing is at least half the room, at least from this side to the door on the opposite side. But, you're not exactly perfectly sure, how big the room is. You just know that there's a door, you can sort of make out a wall sort of opposite you. And how do we do on initiative? A 20.
Yeah.
A 19.
A 19.
I also rolled a 20. That's crazy.
There's a loud hissing screech, Aleena, and these two ghouls come lunging towards you. And I'm going to have you actually, one comes lunging past you, but let's deal with the one sort of lunging towards Aleena first. Aleena, why don't you roll dexterity or strength, whichever is best for you?
Oh, dex, definitely.
Okay.
I'd like to roll with advantage because I'm being a Thieves Guild tough for these.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, cool.
And do you remember?
Good.
Yeah.
Paid off. I rolled one of the two was a 1, the other was a fail. So yay.
Okay, so one of the two was a fail. Oh, so you've
yeah.
So
roll with advantage, so I get to choose the best, right?
Right. So now it sort of tries to, like the other one did, it tries to come around and try to hit you with the other claw. That's again on you, Aleena. So you'll need to roll to defend yourself again.
I have to do another?
Yeah. It's got 2 claws.
Crap. Oh, okay. This one isn't with advantage then, right? It's just for that one roll. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is a fail.
All right, roll a D3.
Okay.
All
right, got 1. Rolled a 2, but it's a D3, so it's a 1.
Yeah. So you take 1 more point of damage, and it'll come out of your armor.
Okay.
And then try to defend yourself one more time as it sort of lunges forward to try to bite the hand.
Crap. Okay. All right, that one succeeds.
That one succeeds? All right.
Yes.
Yeah, you could pull your hand back again before it can bite down.
Is it the left hand again?
I think this one was the right hand.
Oh, okay. All right, luck's holding out.
Yeah. And one of them, while you're sort of distracted, sort of running, kind of backing and keeping it from biting you or clawing you, goes for Asor-Ash with a lantern, with a bright lantern. And it lunges straight forward to you. It's going to try to claw you, Asher. So you can make either a dexterity or strength check to kind of keep yourself out of claw's reach.
And it's twice, right?
Yeah, you're going to do it twice because it's got 2 claws.
I dodge them both.
You dodge them both? Yeah. So it does not have a hand on you, so it can't really try to bite you, to hold you still so it chew on you. And we'll go over to you guys. The 3 of you get to take your actions.
So, all right, well, there's not much for it at this point. I think actually, since one of them is is trying to grab hold of Aleena, I'm gonna try to step towards that one and just try to knife it in the back.
Okay, that's definitely one that's not paying attention to you. So it's been a while since I did a. So you're gonna roll your strength at advantage.
Oh, perfect. And that's a hit.
Nice. Roll 2d6.
So 4 and 6 is 10. I think I get to add my level, so it's 12 total.
Yeah. Where were you aiming to stab?
Well, I think it had a hold of Aleena's hand, and it was trying to drag his hand into its mouth to bite it. And as it opens its mouth to bite, the point of my dagger just pops right out of the mouth, and
that's
gets all
awesome.
stiff.
And it just sort of slides down. It's just its legs sort of just go, Aleena, and the one is not on you, but one is very distracted as Asor-Ash seems to have turned its back to it. Aleena, what are you up to there?
Can I get to the one that's going after Asor-Ash?
Yeah,
I'd like to.
Definitely.
Asor-Ash. I'll do that. I'm going to go after him, that ghoul specifically.
So roll your strength.
Woo! Just under it.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Roll that D8.
All right. Let's roll high. Come on. Big number, no whammies. 4.
Okay. You cleave into it, but it doesn't really seem to slow down. You actually take off one of its claws, though.
The left one?
The left one, yeah.
Knew it.
You have an eye for the left.
It's an omen.
Kreigast, what are you up to?
So I've seen Asor-Ash. Did he take one of those ghouls down?
Yeah, he completely destroyed one of those ghouls, but the one that had attacked him, he was attacking the one who attacked Aleena.
Got it.
The one who attacked him, Aleena attacked, took off one of its claws, but it's still sort of up and moving.
Okay, yeah. So the one-handed ghoul. So I'm just kind of a little bit stunned, and I've been watching this action happen quickly in front of me.
Right.
But I do have I'm holding my left finger up, and it begins just to glow on a little bit on the tip, and I just stretch it out and point at this remaining ghoul, and I say zop and cast magic missile at it.
Nice. Roll your damage for magic missile.
Let's see. That is 9 points. I
Nice.
believe.
Nice. Yeah, I think. Where were you aiming with your magic missile?
Yeah, I'm just going right for the torso. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think most of the torso is missing, and all of a sudden the upper portion, like the shoulders, just sort of tumble forward. at an angle and sort of land at Aleena's feet, and then the legs just sort of fall backwards. And it's still dark inside the room, and you can still hear sort of a low hissing, and you hear someone say something in Goblin. And then somebody answer in Goblin. But there's still a hissing sound. And there's not a lot of light coming from anywhere in the room.
Maybe Kreigast should light his lantern.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to go for it.
Okay. You light your lantern and you guys kind of point them in opposite directions. And what you see is you've been down here before Asor-Ash, and this is the Hall of Found Art, which is a little like a junk store mixed with an antique store. But people in Goblin Society come just to like look at human cultural artifacts. Decorative spoons or, anything that they have picked up from human society is just sort of like, and it's generally piled pretty high because especially the wealthy humans throw a lot of stuff away. So there's books, but there's shelves all along the side of the, and you see several strangely feral-looking goblins, about 3 of them, sort of climbing up on the shelves in your lantern light and looking like they're just about to just pounce down on top of a bunch of goblins who are sort of huddled in the middle of the room, who now suddenly see you and cry out. And that draws the attention of the 3 of them, and they look like they're just about to pounce down. And these goblins they're all different types, all different shapes, but they all have sort of a grayish pallor to their skin, and they all have bite marks on them. And it looks like the 3 of them are just about to pounce on these other goblins who are just sort of huddled in the middle of the room. None of them, all of them look pretty average. And you can see that, yes, there's a hallway that looks sort of like it leads back to roughly the direction you guys came in. And there's a hallway that leads, maybe it would intercept that hallway where the ghouls came out of at some point. What do you guys want to do? And this is what you see in your lantern light. And also, I'm sorry, I forgot to have you check your intelligence, Kreigast, when you cast Magic Missile.
I did. I lost that spell slot also.
Okay. All right. So you've still got 2 other spell slots at first level, correct? Then?
Yep.
All right. Awesome. What do you guys want to do? There's 3 of them that look like they've climbed up on the shelves and are ready to just sort of bound down.
Do we think we could just rush past them, or I don't know.
I'm tempted. I don't know if I'm the person to do it, but my first idea is to just try and knock over these shelves that they're on.
I like that plan.
That's smart.
Yeah,
that's a great plan.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just kind of nudge Aleena and just kind of just mime putting my shoulder into the shelves and just try and get her to help me out. And by help me out, I mean I'll help her do it.
All right, Aleena. I'll let you, since Kreigast is helping you, I will ask you to just roll your strength at advantage to see if you can knock one of these shelves down. If you get with like a super critical success, or if you get a 1, 2, or 3, something awesome will also happen. But roll at advantage for that since Kreigast is helping you out.
Okay. Oh, of course I rolled 2 17s.
Oh man, Aleena. You do upset one of these shelves and it goes tumbling, but the goblin who's on it, the kind of ghoulish goblin gray skin thing, it sort of uses it to catapult itself into the middle of this sort of group of goblins who are hovering, huddling together, and starts just sort of biting and clawing on them. And a scream goes up. What are you going to do, Asor-Ash?
I'm suffering a little bit of an attack of conscience, not unlike Kreigast when he decided to pay for his free tattoo. So, the sight of these poor goblins being ripped apart by this, one of their former companions is a little tough. So I'm gonna run over there and try to. I'm not gonna grab him. Actually, I guess I'll just stab him. I'll run in there.
You can backstab him. He's not focused on you at all.
Okay, well that's good. That would be my preference.
All right, roll at advantage with your strength,
and that's a hit.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead and roll that damage.
1 and 5, so that's 7.
Nice. Yeah. Again, you go straight through the forehead. It stops just as it's about to bite down on a fairly young-looking goblin, probably someone you've seen before. Maybe not a name but probably someone you've seen around the underground before. And then the 2 more start to leap into the fray.
That's not good. That wasn't part of this bargain.
Both of them coming at you, Asor-Ash. You can defend yourself with either strength or dexterity. And while your dexterity is higher, if you go with strength, your tattoo may help you out, just kind of once per session.
Well, how many times am I defending myself here?
Just twice.
Just twice?
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel that the tattoo feels like it's kind of writhing, like my skin is crawling. I'm gonna just try to. It's just not like me. I don't like this, but I'm gonna just try to forearm this ghoul back by force of strength, and I actually succeed both times.
Nice. Yeah. I'm gonna borrow White Hack rule, and if you get a double success at advantage, you get something extra. So why don't you go ahead and roll a d6 to see how you do at a
5.
Nice. Yeah, you knock this one back, and it kind of cracks its head against kind of a fallen bookshelf, and it just stops moving. The other one is coming at you, though. Do you want to roll your dexterity to try to get away from it?
Yeah, I just want to try to backpedal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so it's the 2 attacks again, or?
Nope, just one.
One? Great.
It's a new ghoul.
And I dodged that one too.
All right.
I'm very nimble.
Aleena, there's just one of these sort of goblin ghouls left.
Oh, I'm letting out a war cry to draw it to me so none of my friends are in danger. And also to make me feel tougher.
All right.
And I succeed with a strength check.
Nice. Roll your damage.
Roll my damage. 3.
3. Okay. It is still standing.
I'd like to make my extra attack.
Oh yeah.
That is a 12, and my strength is 12. Dang it.
Technically, I've done a house rule where extra attacks are always against non-consecutive opponents. So yeah. So
Yeah, I
but
see that per
I had
non-consecutive
said yes
attacks.
before I remembered my own house rule. So
That's fine.
and then you missed.
Sorry.
And then, yeah.
Wait, it says or against targets they've missed.
Oh. But you hit the first time.
Oh, you mean missed forever?
No. It's if you
Okay,
just
I'm
missed
an
somebody.
idiot. Yes,
you
no,
can make
I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Sorry.
Oh no. I did not explain it well. So
No. I had literally just hit, but for some reason my brain forgot that part. So that's fine.
Kreigast, what's going on with you?
I think I'm gonna rush in there with my sword and kind of swing it wildly.
All right, you can definitely use your bond with Aleena since she is in there if you want to do that, or you want to roll first and see if you want to call in that token.
You know what? I'm just gonna use it. Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm just gonna bold and italicize bonds we've already hit.
Oh, yeah.
Factors we've already hit.
So yeah, that's a success and
Nice.
for 1 point of damage.
That is exactly what you needed.
Excellent.
And let us take another break about 5 minutes. Is that about right? Let's be back about 10:05.
Sounds good.
All right. I'll see you guys then.
You're in DC for work?
Yep. Had a video shoot for a instructional program we're working on today. So,
well, you were in that same room. When were we playing on Tuesday?
Yeah, the shoot was today, and I normally would just come down on Wednesday night for a Thursday shoot, but with the snowstorm, I decided not to get stuck in New York.
Yeah,
and come down on Tuesday.
I've actually backed out of a couple of games because I've discovered I was going to be traveling. I don't have any confidence in the hotel wireless.
I've had it go down before, but like I don't have great confidence in Time Warner's wireless service either. So I figure it evens out. And I'm usually willing to pay for the better one, but we seem to have good one. We seem to have pretty good service without buying up this hotel.
You were a little bit choppy once or twice, but overall it's been pretty solid.
Yeah, it's unfortunately the same when I'm home. I'll be choppy for a while, or other people will be choppy. I can never quite tell what whose end it's on.
So I specifically signed up to play this not only because I was really excited to play a game you ran, but also because I'm running my Black Hack in 1 week.
Oh, nice!
And I'm so stealing your house rule. I'm so stealing.
Oh yeah. Steal any of them. I stole most of them from other games.
Yeah, the Profession Bond and Ideal is just lovely, and I'm going to rework that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I didn't say
White Hack is a little more generous with advantage, but it's a little more complicated under what circumstances you get it. So I just thought it'd be simple. Just say just once a session. So I'm sorry, Keith, I cut you off.
No, it's fine. I was about to say I wasn't going to say anything while we're playing, but the rules confusion was very OSR appropriate also earlier.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Rules confusion is indeed exactly the kind of thing that made AD&D the game it was.
I spent a lot of time looking up stuff in the non-existent index back in the day.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. I think we are ready to go. We may wind up a little bit before time, so I will refund a proportional amount of the money you spent.
This is priceless.
That was my joke. That was my one joke for the evening.
I love it. It's the best joke of the evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. So let us get to where you guys are. You are in the. You've just saved a whole bunch of goblins. By a whole bunch, I mean like around 4. There's a few others that seem to have been injured to the point they passed out or non-responsive. And there may be others under the overturned, furniture that was overturned before Aleena even got in the room. But they are kind of shaking in the middle of the room. There's a hallway, like I said, that seems to be leading off. It'd be easier to tell if the lights in that hallway were still lit, leading back to the way you came in, and one hallway that seems to be leading back towards the direction that the goblin or the ghouls initially came from when you found them in the tattoo parlor. The Hall of High Art. And you've got a bunch of trembling goblins here. What do you do?
Do you know where Queen Nirma is? She'll break out her rations and offer them a little bit of food.
Oh yeah, they definitely get very excited. And one of them just says, yes, she's she was in the Museum of Suffering. She likes to go and remember the dark times. And she gestures down to where the ghouls seem to have initially come from. And shudders. She was there, and the ghouls came out from that direction.
We should avoid that direction, my friends.
Well, that's where the queen is.
But that's...
This is frequently how these things go. It's always in the direction of the ghouls or goblins, or it's never it's never the easy way.
Well,
there's no time like the present, my friends. Shall we go?
I'll lift up my lantern.
Yeah. No, I'll grab my lantern and let's move along.
As long as I have you
Stay
two
safe,
with
little
me.
ones.
Yep.
Do you ask them any other questions? You're just heading straight down the hall?
No. What can you tell us about the Museum of Suffering?
It's a museum about suffering.
Thanks.
It's it's torture implements.
It sounds delightful.
The queen had it built.
When you say she likes to remember the dark times, what exactly? What dark times are those?
The times that torture could be used on goblins. Goblins had to use torture. It's an ugly period, but she believes that we all have to remember it.
It seems like something worthy of remembrance, even if it is uncomfortable.
Well, we're going to go screaming down the hallway you came out of.
Fair enough. Yeah, don't let us hold you back.
Good to have a life plan.
And you guys go moving down the dark hall toward?
Yeah.
All right.
Toward danger and glory.
I'd like all of you to make a wisdom check. As you head down this dark hallway with just you got both your lanterns out?
I can tell you already that it's not wise. Like, I don't need dice for that.
Yeah, I'm holding my lantern aloft, and then I have my sword in my other hand. And I rolled a 1 for my wisdom.
So did I.
Brilliant.
I rolled a 4. And now I was feeling good until you guys went and rolled 1s.
Look, between 3 successes and 2 critical successes and a lot of light, you guys are able to drive back the ghouls that you encounter into the room where you suspect the queen is. And these are full-size ghouls. These are not the little goblin ghouls you encounter. These are 3 full-size ghouls that disappear back into, and then you hear a loud shriek. And it's like banging, as if banging on the bars of a cage, like metal bars of some sort. And the doorway to that room is dark. It is nice and light here in the hallway where you are. What are you going to do?
think these creatures can see better than we can.
In the dark.
And we are walking around with torches, so maybe we just call out, and if there are any goblins around, they'll let us know.
I like that idea. My first instinct is to burn everything, but that doesn't always work out so well. Yeah, maybe we should try talking.
Kreigast has a way with words.
He does.
Indeed. Yeah, so I guess I'll approach the doorway and I'll just kind of just yell into the room and just say hello in there, just kind of awkwardly. Not even. It's strange to talk to no one. Is anyone there? Anyone who's not inclined to eat living flesh?
Kreigast, you hear a woman's voice start to yell, "I am," and then something covers her mouth or muffles her in some way. Make a charisma check.
Can't tell if that rolled or not. All right, that's a fail.
It's a fail. Okay. Her voice is muffled.
Did it sound regal?
It sounded haughty.
Okay, well, that's a decent
When
proxy.
you hear sort of a low, rumbling voice. Say something about or you hear a low rumbling voice that just says maybe. Who wants to know?
Well, I mean, I count myself among the living, so I am concerned about being eaten down here. I don't know if you've noticed, but there seems to be some infestation going on.
An infestation. I feel like we have gotten it under control.
And who might I be addressing?
My
name is Kreigast.
Are there goblins with you?
No, none at the moment. Just me and my 7 friends.
Kreigast. You don't sound familiar. Are you anyone important?
Well, I mean, it depends how you define important. There are many people that I'm close to, and I'm certainly important to them. I'm a fixture in the neighborhood.
I got you. All right. Kreigast. Why don't you just turn around and we've got this situation under control and go back to where you came from?
Well, I mean, I'm afraid that's I won't be doing that. See, we've got an important communique for the queen's eyes and ears only.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's been a change of administration. Who does the communique come from?
Well, like I said, that is between us and the queen.
Well, there's someone here who used to be a queen, but so you don't really have any business with her since she's not the queen anymore. Correct? Right. I'm right. Of course I'm right.
Well, perhaps we should be treating with you then. I just I look back at Aleena and Asor-Ash, and I just kind of roll my eyes.
Did you tell him about the big bag of silver we have?
Oh yeah.
Big bag of silver, you say. Who is this big bag of silver from?
Who's asking? Come out into the light. We're just humans. We can't really see as well as you.
Kindles or it sort of like flares up a lantern. It may have been sort of at minimum, and you just really couldn't make it out. There's a largest goblin. He's one of the ones that has sort of the weird, sort of feathered mane kind of things around his face, where his hair should be, and around his neck. And he's just sort of looking down at you. And there's a couple of goblins with him. And he's sort of hanging. He's kind of sitting on sort of a hanging sort of cage. And you see one of them has someone you assume must be the queen. Based on the regal quality of her garments. And they've sort of tied her up, and one's put like a sock in her mouth. And they're sort of sitting there on top of the holding swords. One's got a little spear. And one isn't armed of the three of them. The one that seems to be talking to you has put on a crown that doesn't fit him right, and is dressed in sort of black leather armor. Why, I'm King Terzoth. And as he talks, he has to kind of hold the crown in place on his head. King Terzoth, formerly Duke Terzoth. Now King Terzoth. You had a bribe for me for something?
Yes. Yes, I have to hand it over to you. We have a job.
Are you bribing me to do something, or are you just bribing me to be extraordinarily handsome?
I'm sure you do that part for free. We need something taken, and that's what the payment is for.
Oh, you need us to help you with burgle something.
Yes.
And then perhaps smuggle it back into the city?
Yes.
Can't go over the walls, can't go through the walls, you're going to go up under the walls. All right, we can do business. Who has it?
The supply warehouse has a dole that is being kept from our people.
Who would want to keep a dole from lovely people such as yourselves?
The authorities, of course.
Oh. Well, this is awkward then. Because I work for the authorities, you see.
Oh.
We've had a change of administration. We no longer have a hostile relationship with the Overlord and the Black Lotus.
I'm going to start like walking closer, all casual, like, oh, this is interesting. And I'm looking to walk up and...
As you do that, Aleena, make a charisma check.
Oh, no. I will roll dice, but I'm already just proactively saying, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Looks are deceiving.
Looks are deceiving. Perhaps I will do that. Thank you very much. I will go ahead and roll a second die. I'm probably still not going to succeed. And I rolled a 7 with my charisma of 9. Oh,
nice.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, he's letting you move forward. Move into the room. Doesn't seem to be responding.
Cool. I'm trying to get close enough to kill him. I figured Queen Nerma will do it for less than this whole bag of silver, and we can keep the rest because she'll be so thankful that we have restored her crown and killed a friend of the Black Lotus. It's a win all around, except for King Turtle.
As you sort of move slightly into the room, and the guys hold the lanterns behind you, you can see where the one who doesn't seem to be holding a weapon has the 3 sort of ghouls you drove back on kind of leashes.
Probably not going to kill him right away.
And you see a lot of implements of these would be like a standard torture chamber of the secret police type stuff. There's like an Iron Maiden, and there's some stretching machines. There's hanging cages. There's like something that looks like a corkscrew for pressing people or pressing goblins. He's got like 3 sort of chained up, or not chained up, but leashed ghouls, and they're hanging just a few feet off the ground with one of them sort of holding the queen in one hand, his hand over her mouth, and the 3 ghoul chains in the other, and then the one who's talking, sort of standing there holding a sword and a shield, or he's got a sword and leather armor, and then one of them has sort of a big old pike. It's not a spear, and similar leather armor. And which one? They're kind of like on a platform that's just kind of hanging there. And you were moving towards them?
Yes.
All right. So what's your approach? Are you just trying to look casual?
Trying my best to look casual until I can get close.
You were looking okay casual. And what was the last question he asked you, or the last thing he said?
I don't remember.
He just described the change in leadership in Goblintown, I think was it, and then we started moseying forward.
Are the 2 of you sort of moseying with Aleena?
No.
I am. Aleena's had my back. I'm gonna be there for her.
Nice. Kreigast, what about you?
I'm standing there sweating, and I guess mentally preparing myself for some magic.
Okay.
Trust Kreigast. He's got my back, I know.
All right. And then Aleena, you're planning just to take a swipe at them as soon as you can get close?
Yeah, moving forward, kind of gesture to the bag of silver, coming closer, sword held down, just out, like, I forgot to put it in a scabbard. I'm just, what?
So
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yet?
Do what?
Or do you have your shield up yet, or are you just kind of casually letting it sort of hang there?
The shield's there, but it's strapped on, so it doesn't even, like, it's a small shield. And she's hoping to go right for the king. Like, just take that guy down first, and hopefully his lackeys will run away.
Why don't you just put the shield? Why don't you just bring that bag of silver right on over here and just set it up here, and we'll let you go back upstairs and think about adjusting your relationship with your betters upstairs.
Well,
and,
sure. She reaches with her shield arm to uncinch the bag and hefts it up. Come closer.
He's like, yeah, just gonna set it right up here. No funny business.
course.
And he lets you with that charisma check, he's going to let you get it right on up there. But he is keeping an eye on you. So once you get up there, let's go ahead and roll initiative.
All right, let's do that thing.
This time I'm going to ask you to add 2 to your initiative roll.
That's fine.
To the roll, and it's not 2.
Oh, that sucks. You sure 2?
Yeah.
Not 1.
2.
Damn it. Calls me to fail.
Kreigast, only add 1.
Oh, right.
Kreigast, sorry.
I passed.
All right. Kreigast, how did you do?
I also passed.
Nice. All right. So Asor-Ash and Kreigast, I think they all see Aleena but start to pull up her sword before she actually gets it kind of raised and in position. And they start to respond all at once. But you guys see this. Kreigast, what do you do?
I mean, I've just been tense and, like I said, sweating by the door, and I just kind of, the words are at my lips, and I'm gonna cast my sleep spell.
Nice. All right. Go ahead and roll your 4d6 first, and then roll. Check your spell slot.
So that is 14 hit dice worth of creatures.
Nice.
I feel like every GM who runs Black Hack, Rich, this is just a side. This is a pro note.
Oh yeah.
Dylan warned me of this. You forget to count the sleep spell. So 14. All 3 goblins, including the queen, or all 3 goblins and the queen, just pass out and start snoring, just sort of slowly rocking on that little hanging thing up there. But as they do that, the guy holding the ghouls lets go of the leashes, and they start to surge forward. Asor-Ash, what are you doing?
So the former Duke, now King, is on a platform?
It was kind of like hanging, just a few feet off the ground, over kind of like one of those. What it looks like they'd sort of modified one of those like hanging cages. You might see.
Okay. So he's like in a gibbet, except he's not locked in it.
Yes, thank you. The gibbet is the word I was looking for. Except it was kind of open.
Okay. I think I'll duck underneath it and stick my dagger up between the bars into the bottom of his foot real quick.
Since he can kind of see you coming, I'm going to have you roll dexterity, see if you can sort of get around Aleena in a sort of moving too fast for the eye to see way.
Sounds good.
So you can use your backstab. Now, remember, they are all asleep.
Well, not the king, though, right?
All the goblins are asleep. The only thing awake are the 3 ghouls who were on leashes.
I misunderstood. I thought.
Yeah. That's why I realized that I thought you probably did.
No, not then. Then if we can just rewind that, I'll I will
sneaking around those ghouls who are on the ground.
Wow.
Just had their leashes let go, so it's gonna be hard to get behind them.
Yeah.
Until they attack somebody else. You could try to dodge away and sort of hide somewhere in the room.
I think I might. I think I don't want to. I'm not going to abandon Aleena. My natural inclination would be to run away and hide in the dark, but I'm not going to abandon Aleena. So what I will do though is I will jump to the side a little bit in the hopes that they'll kind of fill in the gap between the 2 of us. Try to maneuver a little bit. So maybe get them in between the 2 of us and just like actively defend. I don't want to commit myself to them because if I do, I know they're all 3 going to pounce on me. So.
You can go in and get an advantage by using your bond with Aleena.
That sounds like a good idea.
With that strength roll, do you want to try to stab one of them?
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead and get in there.
All right. So got him with both.
You got it with both?
Well, I get 1 attack, but they both with advantage. They both succeeded.
Roll your damage.
I do 6.
Nice. That one goes down as
Oh,
you sort of get through the jaw up into
lovely.
the brain, and just it collapses and kind of falls off the end of your dagger. But then the other two are going. I'll just have one come at you and one come at Aleena. Asor-Ash, defend twice with dexterity.
These are full-grown ghouls. A 7 and a 1.
A 7 out of it's
Yeah.
a 7 and a 1. Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're able to kind of dodge, dance back, and get away from them as they come at you. Aleena, I think you're going to try to defend twice with dexterity, kind of dance away from these ghouls coming at you with their claws.
One success and one failure.
So roll a d3 for damage, and then
2.
use strength to defend as one of them sort of leans in to try to bite you again.
Okay, that is 2 that's coming at me, which means that takes out my armor, and I take actual hit point of damage.
As it kind of gets around your armor, you can. Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a second. Go ahead and defend yourself with strength.
Failed.
Oh man, now your choice. Should you choose to accept it, it's just sort of block him with your shield, but he will tear right through it. So your shield will be gone, but he will not bite. He will not actually get his teeth into you.
Oh, that sounds awesome and dramatic, and I don't get bit, so yay.
Yeah. So he kind of rips it. I don't think he sunders it so much as it rips the leather straps away, just with his mouth. He sort of bites down on the edge of the shield and pulls it as you sort of bring it up, and the leather straps just pop. And now your shield is gone, and your armor is damaged. And Kreigast, there are 2 ghouls here who are on your friends.
Yeah, I think it's just time for more magic.
It's
So
save.
yeah, I'm gonna cast magic missile with a zip zop, pointing my fingers.
Nice.
At,
Which one are you aiming at? The one on Asor-Ash or the one on Aleena?
Asor-Ash. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I think we missed Aleena's attacks in there too, because she missed her initiative roll. So.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I
Oh.
apologize, Aleena.
No,
You're
I
up.
thought I was going last, so I was.
Yeah, you are. You are. So that was. I skipped over you completely.
Rewind.
Rewind. Kreigast has done nothing. Really, right now, just Aleena goes first, and the 2 of you go.
Okay, cool. So then, it's bitten and ripped off the shield.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm like dramatically close enough to do this, but the first instinct she had when the ghouls fell asleep goblins fell asleep and the ghouls started surging forward is she would move over to the platform and grab like the halberd wearing goblin and like throw him in the way of one of the ghouls.
Nice.
2 for 1 there. It's the thing. So I think she's still intending on trying to do that.
Nice. Definitely small enough for you to pick up.
Okay.
Why don't you make a strength roll?
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I clicked the button twice and nothing happened. And that's 3 times.
Oh, I always end up using the green reroll button.
That's what I've been using.
Oh, really?
It's worked
Okay.
Tonight. Okay, I'm just gonna roll a fresh die because none of these are re-rolling. So
That's weird. I'm sorry.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've been sitting idle or something. I don't know. Now it's just doing the circle thing and I got a server encountered an error, so I couldn't complete. So
Sorry.
That's fine. I'm gonna refresh.
Okay.
And try to re-roll selected. And it came up 13 again.
Oh.
And now it's a 4. Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, you've thrown that goblin into the ghoul, and it is knock the ghoul down, and it's focused on sort of chewing on that goblin. And back to you, Kreigast. You were gonna magic missile that one that was on top of Asor-Ash.
Yes.
He sort of danced away from it.
Yep. Nothing has changed. So,
all right. Let's do your magic missile damage and then check your spell slot.
So 8 points. And
where were you aiming with your magic missile?
This time for the head, I think.
Yeah, the head is gone. The head is gone.
No more biting.
And the ghoul is collapsed to the ground. Asor-Ash, what about you? Asor-Ash.
So two of them are dead, and the one surviving one
is on the ground, sort of is attacking a sleeping goblin who's about to wake up.
Okay, I feel like he's paying no attention to me at all.
None, zero.
No, I think it's time for a dagger up the backside.
Yeah.
And yep, so that's a hit, and that'll be for 3, and 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6.
Nice. Yeah. Describe how you destroy this.
He's in there, and he's like got his claws into the goblin, and he's about to bite his neck, and I just run up there and bury my dagger 2 or 3 times, really kind of viciously in his back, and he dies. And I step away from him, and I fling the gore off, and I look around, and I look at Aleena, and I look at Kreigast, and I say, I'm better at this than I thought I would be. This is kind of exciting. I can see why you're into this.
Nice. So awesome. So you have a goblin on the ground who's sort of waking up, looking pretty frightened. He's not been bitten. He did not get bit, but he's looking pretty frightened. And then you have 3 sleeping goblins: the queen, the person who assigned himself king, and then the guy who is holding the ghoul leashes, kind of on the kind of hovering a few feet off the ground. What are you doing?
I think, like any good D&D session, it's time. It always involves rope. So I think it's time to start tying these miscreants up.
All right. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty easy to get the miscreants tied up. Aleena, make a dexterity check to see if you can catch the small one who's going to try to dart away.
Okay. I like dexterity checks.
Yeah.
Now I don't trust if it's actually done something because it was the same number, so I'm going to roll it again. That's a fail.
Okay. Yeah, he goes darting off down a hallway you've not really explored yet.
Is he covered in butter?
It's probably something more vile than butter, but
no, I'm going with butter.
You actually take a point of damage as that sort of feathery mane. As you sort of reached over to him, he sort of, in the feathers are a set of quills.
Oh.
So you took a point of damage as you pricked your finger on one of the quills, and he sort of slipped away from you at that point in time. What are you guys doing with your 2 tied up Victor? Or did you tie up the queen as well?
No, I think I'm just waiting till we have the situation under control and then waking her.
Yeah. She eventually comes to. Did you wake up the other 2 as you were tying them up, or did you just kind of let them sleep?
No, just maybe let them sleep. See what she wants to do with them.
I think perhaps kill the underling and she can deal. I'm suggesting I have no problems. I will totally stab this goblin in his throat and leave the king, unless they have some kind of. This is a more tactical way to do it.
I mean, I kind of want to leave it up to her. Maybe as maybe just to curry some
How long
favor.
does this last? I don't want one of them running away again.
Oh, several hours as
Yeah,
long as
unless
we.
about as long as a night's sleep would last.
Oh, okay.
Unless you do something to wake them up.
Like stab them?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, stabbing is a good way to make sure people don't wake up. I'm not endorsing that for the kids at home. That is not an endorsement. It was a joke. But yeah, if you shake them or otherwise kind of smack them or anything that would normally wake somebody up from a sleep, call their name repeatedly right by their ear, drop them on top of a ghoul in a wrestling maneuver. Those are all things that would wake someone up normally. But
a proto wrestling.
Yeah. You're a pro wrestler. And then so you're going to wake up the queen and let them kind of sleep while tied up. But are you going to kill the attendant who had the ghouls on the leash, or are you going to let him live? What do you think? Aleena has asked your opinion, correct?
Yes, Aleena's asked the opinion of.
I want to leave it up to the queen.
All right.
But I mean, I'll go along with you guys. I don't have any compunction about killing these.
No, I agree with you, Kreigast. I'll wait.
I agree. I agree with Kreigast too. I think she would appreciate the opportunity to mete out her own justice.
I just realized, you guys, you had a backpack full of ghouls bane, and now you've defeated the ghouls without it.
I mentioned that, but yeah.
But yeah, the queen wakes up, and we will montage it really quickly, and then we can take a moment for roses and thorns. But yeah, she is completely willing to take the silver and say a profuse thank you. She calls some people who sort of lead the sleeping people away. Some of her guard are able to sort of come find her and lead the two people you tied up away. And she's very interested in that bag of silver and promises that she can by tomorrow, not this following morning, but the morning after that, she can arrange to have all of the dole set in front of the thieves guilds, the well-known headquarters of the thieves guild, which everybody suspects and Aleena knows is not where anybody in the thieves guild actually does any real business, unless they're going to do something public, like release the dole or something like that. So is that good with you guys? Yeah. You could certainly try to skim the silver off the top for those of you who wanted to do that, but
yeah, it's a really good point.
I think we earned a little bit by saving her whole friggin' kingdom.
Yeah,
right. You just openly ask for it, but maybe we just grease our own palms. I'm keeping a third of it.
Totally reasonable.
Okay. I'd say you each end up with everything else. You each end up with about 16 coin worth of silver. But she is still quite happy with this pretty hefty bag that you've produced, which is, a good bit deeper than that. I mean, you don't have time to really count it out and partition it. You're swiping some out right before you hand it to her. But yeah, she has guaranteed. She even wrote it. She even had one of her scribes come in and write it out that she will produce the grain that's in the Black Lotus's warehouse on the docks and import it into the city via the either the bathhouse or the horizontal goat by the morning after this. just in time for the ceremonial dole. Anything else you guys want to note before you head back to the surface?
We should go back and pay the tattoo guy. The Zip Zop was really effective.
The Zip Zop actually now has little missiles kind of down your fingers. You think maybe there was a sleep spell in there somewhere, like some clouds of sleep or some sleeping people.
Mm-hmm.
But you did pay for that one. It was the Asor-Ash's one that did not get paid for.
Oh, sorry.
I'm the one that welched out, but we never agreed on a price. So
yeah, that's true. They liked you, so 20 flat.
Oh, 20 flat. Oh,
That's actually very reasonable. I mean, these cost me.
Not if you've only got 30 to your name. Okay. All right. Aleena seems.
And you each got 16.
This isn't that's including the 16.
Yeah.
I'll kick in the 10 because it really does make him look tougher.
Yeah.
Thanks. You're 12.
Nice.
And just mechanically there, Keith, that functions as like an extra. It's essentially just an extra sort of like attribute or trait that you have that you can get advantage off of in doing something physical.
Cool. So it's like once per session advantage on a strength roll. Excellent.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for playing. I'd love to do Roses and Thorns, but I want to give you guys a chance to sort of grab a drink of water or take a bio break or anything back and be back right at 10:55 if you'd like to, if you have time to stick around for that. And then I'll see you then in just a couple of minutes.
All right. Sounds good.